What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As always, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day, boys and gals. Today is Saturday. Holy cow, we are almost halfway through January of 2025, and really 9 days away from Trump actually being inaugurated into the office, bringing a entirely pro-crypto cabinet with him as well. That comes from the SEC getting replaced, so Gary Gensler has resigned and will be his last day on the 20th of January. Would have loved to see him get fired, but oh well, we get to see him out of the office either way, so that is good news in my opinion. Next is, are we actually going to get some good bullish news and updates coming from the new SEC head, which at this point in time I believe is Paul Atkins. I don't think they've been confirmed yet, still not exactly entirely sure as to how all that goes about. So we're just waiting to see how that's gonna all end up playing out. Plus, we have pretty good bullish numbers as well from the most recent jobs or JOLTS report, right? And so that was actually a pretty good bullish update as well. And damn, it's been a thrilling ride for crypto in general. 2024 was filled with waves of joy and happiness, along with from March all the way until really the end of the year, Q4, where things really started getting hype again. A little lackluster toward the end of December. That could have been just due to a multitude of events, whether it just be, you know, the go about selling, do some wash trading, even though there really is no rule against that in crypto at this point in time. So some people would just sell, and because the dip actually happened, they bought back on the dip, or they just sell and buy back immediately for a loss, so that way they could write off some of the losses or some of the gain, some losses for the year. So long story short, 2024 has been a crazy freaking time, but again, a post-election pro-crypto stance Donald Trump cabinet is going to be a massive rally for 2025, because could 2025 be the year that everyone's been waiting for with massive bullish signals? These are absolutely being a possibility right here as well, and we're actually going to be having some fun taking a look at some of that today. It's not just about hype, it's actually about analyzing key factors shaping the future of our crypto space. So there's been massive institutional adoption from ETFs getting approved in 2024, especially with a new SEC head coming in. It looks like there's going to be even more ETFs that get approved as well, just making it that much more likely to continue on the stance. Now, I've seen a lot of things apply for, you know, some ETFs, but I don't know if they're all going to get approved. And that's primarily because in order to be an ETF, you can't be a security, right? And so I'm kind of curious to see which ones do get approved and which ones don't, because basically by approving an ETF, you're essentially saying that that asset is in fact a commodity and it is not a security. And so it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to all play out. We've definitely seen some technological advances with Pulse Chain coming out back in 2023 and actually launching with pretty good rally into 2024 as well. A little lackluster performance, I will say so myself, but we are in 2025 as well. So we're going to actually talk about maybe why the stars align. So of course, stick around folks if you like. Smash the like button on the channel, subscribe for more content. Of course, all this information for you all the time. And we're really just kind of having a hangout session today, folks. This is one of those, you know, I was sitting at the house, I was doing some laundry. I don't know who does the laundry in the house, but I'm actually the person in the household who does all the laundry in my house. So I was just sitting here doing some laundry and I was like, you know what? I'd much rather stream, hang out with some beautiful crypto folks, hang out with you beautiful people as well, and just have some fun hanging back, kicking it on this beautiful Saturday. So let me take a little sip of some coffee. Tell me what you're sipping down below in the comments as well. It's always fun to end up getting that. We gotta do a Pulse Nation stream soon. Let me know if y'all want to see a Pulse Nation stream soon. Maybe I'll reach out to the boys and see if we can get some Pulse Nation streams happening. I see Red Squirrel in the house. Oi oi, what's good? What's good? Human Hex Trafficker, Retrospect, Degen, Dougie, Bong Bong, and Digital Farmer in the house so far. It has been a freaking crazy time, y'all. Especially with the most recent FUD that actually just happened in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Not coming from Charles Hodgkinson. We really don't care about that guy at all. In fact, he's actually promoting it more. I was kind of laughing at the concept. So he said, let me see if I can just find that Twitter post, but he said that he was essentially going to block anybody who mentioned Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX. And I feel like that has been a thing that has been going on for 5 years now, being that Hex is over 5 years old. And even if he decides to go about stopping and blocking as many people as he possibly can, I really just don't see that having any effect. There will be someone new who will always come into his chat and channel and mention Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX. The community outreach is honestly that strong. It's been pretty fire to see, and it's doing exactly what we want with him actually promoting it as well. We actually saw a pretty good recent pump recently as well. We'll check out some prices here in a moment. But this is actually coming from the FUD of the Interpol, right? And so people had some little sell-off event that happened, and we're just gonna have to see how it all ends up playing out at the end of the day. But everyone's kind of a little sad or like freaking out on prices when it has nothing to do with the actual crypto protocol. So I kind of find that interesting as well. I think a lot of people are just way too emotional at this point in time. They really want to see something happen. They haven't seen something happen at this point in time. So now they're really selling out of panic, right? And once that first red candle shows itself and shows its ugly face, the next red candles soon scare the next person. Don't be the person who gets fudded out by emotional garbage like that. 2025 is primed for a massive crypto boom, folks. And I say this with all sincerity. Bitcoin sitting at a $2 trillion market cap could potentially end up going up to about $4 to $5 trillion market cap as well. Not too far behind gold, and it won't be too long before, in fact, it actually does surpass gold market cap as well. So that's going to be an absolute shock when that happens. Let me go back and see if I can just find the good old Charles Hodgkinson's post on blocking people. I haven't, said anything for him to block me. I want to save that for later. He's gonna block a few people right now, and that's their power. But I'll be one of those people who will come back into the chat sometime from now and go about shilling him some more. So it's always fun to end up seeing that happen. Let me just see if I could even find the tweet. Does he? Yeah, here we go. All right, new policy. Shit, this shit had me laughing whenever I first saw it. Because it's exactly what we always laugh at as well. But he's actually doing our good work and actually spreading our good work as well. So you can see here. Let me actually do this. Do I have give me one moment, y'all. 1 second. All right, cool. And all right, cool. Yeah, that works. So you can actually see on here, Charles Hodgkinson says, all right, new policy. Any profile with the mention of Hex or Pulse Chain is an instant block for me. It's dangerous to interact with people who are this divorced from reality. Oh shit, so let's read some comments, because this was part of my joy today as I was going through and just reading some of this as well. We have, of course, our main man Hodl Dog in the house, Hex and Pulse Chain right away. Always good to see him. DJ Cryptomatic says the reason why we interacted with you over the years is that we believe you and Richard have a lot in common regarding values, crypto blockchain stuff. We wanted you to team up and take influence on Washington. That's all. Sorry, we are not going anywhere, right? We're not malicious. So let's just kind of read through some of this. I love my boy Westcott on this one, part of Pulse Nation crew as well. How's this? Pulse, PulseX, Hex, and Ink. You fucking dork. Like, oh shit, guys, this is too freaking funny, right? I was literally reading through all this, and hey, if he blocked all those people, it is what it is at this point in time. That's kind of how I see it, because I'm literally laughing whenever I see this kind of stuff on, from my personal opinion over here. I'm literally laughing whenever I see all of these things. Does this include ink? Turbo says. But this was literally one of the best things ever. And this post of his actually probably garnered more attention than he ever gets on his posts. So if I look over here, you can see this thing got 178,000 views. 178,000 views. Now, just for S's and G's, let's go take a look at his normal engagement whenever he actually does a post as well. Right? And so, like, I don't want to get into like this whole DI, SEC, you know, not SEC, but this whole DI stuff. This is a simple one right here. Some thoughts on wallets. 56K, right? Just had a great meeting with RWAs. 31K, right? That was a repost, granted. Don't get me wrong. So I understand. Let me just see if I can find another of his actually one here. That was the one that just got all the good bullish energy over here. But this one remains one of my favorite pictures that we took in Patagonia. 45K. So we basically almost tripled, if not quadrupled, his normal engagement. This one's at 30K. Cargo code, so the reality of crypto, right? 140K, and we've already gotten majority of that. This is where this whole thing kind of kicked off. It wasn't quite this video that ended up saying it on here, but you know, if you missed Hexo sharing his whole video on this to see how it all went down, you can actually go check it out as well, to, you know, actually watch that particular video. But y'all can see he often doesn't get more than 30-50K views on anything. And then this most recent one where he mentions the blockage of Pulse Chain, PulseX, and anyone with the Hex ticker or anything like that at that point in time was essentially going to be an instant block at that point in time. So yeah, right here, boom. Quite hilarious, because again, almost at 179,000 views as well. And this number really, in my opinion, is just going to keep on getting bigger, bigger, and bigger, right? This 178K, I don't see that going down anytime soon at this point in time. So, you know, I had to get a good laugh at this one. Let's just kind of scroll on down a few different items. You can see how many accounts I mute as well, guys. Like, I'm not a person who tends to block people, but I will absolutely fucking mute you from my life. So I don't even need to see what they end up saying. This is my way of getting them out of my life. I don't want to be dealing with that. So it's not a block for me. It's just a mute for me, bro. Does this count as a hex mentioned? Let me see. Someone in my Telegram actually shared something the other day, which I actually thought was pretty damn hilarious. They ended up making a GIF on this as well, or a GIF, or however you decide you wanted to say it as well. Let me see if I can just pull that up over here. Give me uno momento, por favor. Here we go. And save. Good stuff over here. All right, and then let me see if I can actually pull it up on the screen as well. Here we go. And y'all let me know if the music is too loud or anything like that as well. Because again, I got the music. I can hear it today in my ears. The other day, for whatever reason, I couldn't quite hear the music, you know, so it sounded very quiet when I went to go back and watch the replay of the video as well. But, you know, neither here nor there. Good stuff to be seen overall. So this was actually shared from one of my Telegram Patreon people as well. So a little good old Charles Hodgkinson down here, and you know, some Pulsicans, some Richard Hart style, just looking it all down. Apparently this is from the movie Basketball. You know, I haven't seen that movie before, but maybe I will have to go give it a shot and check it out. But they actually made that funny little GIF. Shout out to Lacey on that GIF. So good stuff overall, folks. Good stuff overall. But anyways, I got distracted talking about all that as well. Easily distractible, apparently. So yeah, guys, this is one of those, like, so you got some institutional adoption happening. We've already seen major players come into the game, like BlackRock entering the whole Bitcoin ETF, which, by the way, was the best ETF launch ever in the history of all ETFs. Was the Bitcoin ETF, and if that does tell you that there's going to be a massive boom coming soon, just you wait. Because right now, while they can do some over-the-counter deals, eventually there will be a point in time where those over-the-counter deals just aren't able to keep up with the natural supply of, or the natural demand of the ETFs. And eventually, because of that, they are going to have to do a true spot market purchase. And that's when we'll start seeing some prices go flying, which is what a lot of people are anticipating. Bitcoin potentially reaching those numbers such as $500,000, $1 million Bitcoin, that kind of stuff as well. Whether that's this cycle or next cycle, I don't exactly know. I don't even know how many Bitcoin the OTC deals or traders even have available to be selling. But in my opinion, there's only so much that they have, and eventually the supply is just not going to be able to keep up with the demand, and they're gonna have to buy it on that open market from people selling and trading just like any other person does right now on the open market. So globally, of course, we're also seeing a lot of economic conditions favoring crypto, folks, whether it be the inflation concerns, right? This is coming from central banks potentially loosening monetary policy. We've seen this happening with a flood of liquidity before in 2021. We could potentially, or 2020, we could also potentially see the same thing happen in 2025 as well, because even financial analysts are also predicting that this could propel, guess what, Bitcoin and altcoins to brand new heights. And because of all of them due to a certain ratio with each other, if Bitcoin goes off to the moon and hits 500,000 to $1 million before as well, even if we maintain this same ratio right now for Ethereum as it stands right now, which is roughly about 0.0369, somewhere in that ballpark, then that's going to be putting ETH at $18,000 at the $500,000 Bitcoin mark, or it could even put ETH at $36,000 if Bitcoin was to go off and hit $1 million Bitcoin. So we're just gonna have to see how this all plays out, but the ratios are showing we got some damn bullish news available ahead, and you know, we're not too far away from what's really going on as well. Go back to the chat, say hello to some more beautiful people. Afternoon, what's shaking, my boys and girls? What's happening? Afternoon, ATX and fam. Absolutely, good evening. We do laundry because women and machinery do not mix. Lol. Oh shit, that had me laughing because my wife, we own our own business, right? We actually, you know, do our own business and all that good stuff as well. And she was having some issues with our website the other day. And, you know, of course, I'm letting her mess with it because I've learned, just like when you get people into crypto, if y'all haven't learned this lesson already, you probably will. If you're a new person in crypto and you're super excited when the pump starts happening, you're going to want to share it with everyone and shout it up on top of the roof and shout it from your neighbors and shout it to everyone that you can, to anyone passing by, anyone who will listen to you. Oh, you know about Bitcoin? Well, let me tell you about Pulse Chain. Let me tell you about Hex. And then you just start like rambling on like fucking crazy. What happens is, unless they're ready to hear it, oftentimes you just end up wasting your breath. And maybe they'll come back around, sure. Maybe they'll end up joining, sure. But half the time they end up blaming you for joining something because they don't fully understand what they ended up getting into. They see a dip happen, blah, 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 blah. So I've also learned the same thing happens. It's easiest just to let it go, and they will know that you're in crypto just from a small conversation. Be like, yeah, I dabble in it as well. But tell me about what you do, right? Tell me about what that is, right? All that good stuff. Same thing happens with the technology side of things. I learned that if I tried to just go to my wife and help fix it right away, oftentimes it ended up causing more issues than it was even worth it to begin with. So I let her do her thing. I let her figure it out. I let her mess around with it until she eventually says, can you come take a look? And I'm like, abso-freaking-lutely. Got the issue resolved, and it was all handled fairly quickly. But it's also pretty funny about this comment right here about we do laundry because women and technology and machinery do not mix. Now, hey, I'm not saying not all women can't do it. I understand. There's plenty of women who do all this as well, but it's hilarious. I had a good chuckle. Checks my pulse, says buying, not crying. Absolutely. What's up, fam? Steak and chill. Yeah, exactly. See me no more, says Charles. Husky Switch is a hypocrite. It's a hypocrite. Yeah, he's just crying, man. He's crying right now. He's hurt. Someone hurt him. Someone absolutely hurt him. So it's always fun, but we already know that we had the Bitcoin halving, and oftentimes, just like it's been in the past, 12 to 18 months after the Bitcoin halving, things like to go boom in the market and things really start pumping like crazy. Well, the Bitcoin halving was April of 2024. We haven't even quite hit that 12-month mark at this point in time, and really we got about the 18-month mark, in my opinion, to really start seeing the top, which is going to be probably in the ballpark of September, October, or November. Again, depending upon how the overall economic situation goes with the, pro crypto cabinet coming in. There was another chart the other day. Let's see if I could even find it. There was another chart the other day that basically showed how many senators are pro crypto. How many senators are pro crypto? And it was a pretty interesting chart. I think it was definitely over half, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can just find it real fast. Give me 1 second. Strongly supportive. Oh, dude, there was a beautiful chart. This one does a whole strongly support for sure, but I want to see a chart. Let me see if I can go to images here. Likely to consider. Is this the one I'm talking? No. Is it here? Pro crypto seats incoming into the U.S. House of Representatives. I think it was right here. So let me see if I can just pull that up on screen. Okay, I gotta just save the image and open it up separately. All right, fair enough. I shall do that and open up over here. All right, cool. And back to the screen here. So yeah, you can actually see these are actually the pro crypto seats incoming into the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives. So again, looking over here in the Senate, 59 are actually pro crypto members out of 37 anti-crypto members, right? So if things want to start getting passed, right, it comes from setting up the idea and launching it down through the whole branches to get approved in the House and the Senate. And it's looking like if something wants to get pushed, we got a pretty damn good pro crypto cabinet coming, right? So the House of Representatives, there are 289 pro crypto members out of the 122 anti-crypto members. Now granted, there's always going to be a few that are neutral, and oftentimes in sales and stuff like that, it's called the 80-20 rule, right? And so essentially you want to win over the 20%, right? Because the 80% are kind of going to do their thing, right? So we'll say it's 20, 20, and 60. I'm just going to keep it simple. 20% will never do it. You'll never talk them out of it, or you'll never talk them into it. There's nothing you can do to change your mind. They're going to stand their ground, and they are steadfast, and you will not change their mind at all at that point in time. The other 20%, no matter what you say, they're going to be pro. They're going to be pushing for it. You could be saying the worst things about it in the world, and they're going to be pushing it like crazy. And normally you want to work with the range of the 60% members in between, so that way you can actually figure out, to sway them toward the direction that you're wanting them to lean toward. In this case, we are wanting to lean toward a pro crypto mindset. But looking at this already, we're already damn near 60% in the green as to pro crypto members, right? So you got 60 out of 37. That is pretty damn good. Again, neutral or no stance, meaning they could be swayed one way or another. So let's say they all sway to the negative side of things and say they don't want to be a part of it. That is still 59 to 41%. That's a pretty damn good thing. Same thing for the House of Representatives. You got 289 with 122 anti-crypto with 24 who are neutral. Let's say they are all swayed to the no side, anti-crypto side of things. That still puts them at 146 versus 289 pro crypto. That is damn bullish numbers, y'all. Damn bullish numbers. Okay? So whenever I'm looking at all of this stuff right here, checking this out over here, just seeing all these numbers over here, the seats, the cabinets, everything happening. Whoops, you can't even see it because I'm actually covering it up. But, all of these things happening over here, whether it be the pro crypto, anti crypto mindset, it's happening, folks. We are already in a pro crypto cabinet coming into the office very, very soon. Again, I really don't think it's going to be that far out of the question for us to really see how this all ends up playing out in the end. Right? So What's this all mean? What's this all mean? Well, the reason why I bring all of this up is because, guys, like, we are literally poised and primed to see that, yes, it may not repeat. And I understand history doesn't always have to repeat. But if it looks like it's going to rhyme, we're setting ourselves up in a situation like 2016 and 2017's crypto move as well, right? When Trump, coincidentally, first came into the office, right? This could be one of those massive bull runs that I don't believe we're going to see another double top scenario like we did in 2021. Whether that be the pandemic that stopped the wave, of whether it just be interest rates rising, or whatever the cause of why we only saw a double top in 2021, I don't really think we end up seeing that. I think we end up seeing somewhere in the ballpark of $160,000 Bitcoin by the May timeframe. We see a sell-off, could be April, could be May, somewhere in that ballpark, I'm not sure. Could be a sell-off that happens right after that, and then the sucker just rallies all the way up to the 240, 250, possibly even $300,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. And that's absolutely what I could see happening. Not a 160 in May and then a 170 in November, right? That's a double top scenario like we almost saw, or like we did see in 2021, right? Everyone believed that we saw the 69K top or 68K top, and we really thought, holy shit, it's hitting 100K in 2021. It's hitting 100K. Like, look at the previous years, guys. 13, 17, it's never done a double top. It's always gone up. Well, it did a double top, right? And so I'm not saying that it's always going to repeat, but things definitely rhyme, folks. Things absolutely rhyme. Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to Pulse Chain. We love you for sure, for sure. We are the front runners, 100%. LFG 100. Absolutely a clear and concise message as always. Thank you, good sir. We'll appreciate the comment on that as well. Of course, we also have AI, coming in and, revamping the thing. I'm not a big fan of all the AI tokens. I think it's, just another meme token that's out there. But hey, there's money to be made, and people are making a whole bunch of money. And if you're willing to put your money and it turns into something, then fucking congratulations about willing to take that risk. It's not something I'm willing to personally do. But hey, if you did it and you got the money, that's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And of course, we're actually moving more toward DeFi than centralized exchanges. And that's such a good thing to see, especially in our ecosystem for Pulse Chain. We're seeing things like 0x Coast, which allows a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp without necessarily messing with any centralized exchange. You can buy the assets on there, send it to a wallet, and then move it how you want. You don't have any funds in a centralized exchange where they decide, hey, I'm going to shut off your account today, right? This is happening far too often. We saw it just recently back in November, if not early December. I can't recall the exact day, where several people ended up getting their Coinbase accounts frozen, right? Like they weren't able to withdraw. They weren't even able to access their crypto. They were literally frozen without reason, right? Or the reasons were they were messing with malicious stuff, or I don't remember the exact reason. Again, it doesn't matter the reason. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. The reason, whatever the fuck they say, is garbage, right? Let's understand that at the end of the day. So whenever I say we're going toward a DeFi era at this point in time, it's creating those on-ramp and off-ramps that are allowing us to actually have still self-custodial control of our assets and move it on and off into without worry of a centralized exchange saying, no, you can't do that. No, your account's frozen. No, you cannot withdraw your $1 million. We understand you've been waiting 5 years. We understand. Hey, we get you. Congratulations on waiting. We will not allow you to transact again on our network until you do X, Y, Z. And that is such garbage, right? And so people are getting away from that mindset real fast, real fast. But guys, this is actually coming from the regulatory shift I mentioned just moments ago, where we're absolutely gonna begin to finally see some regulatory clarity, which in my opinion could truly help the space. They just came out, the Supreme Court ruled that they basically, the SEC and other branches like that, other government entities like that, can't just make up their own rules, right? Because right now it's such a gray space and a gray area, because there is no rules and regulation behind it. Really, there aren't any like things they have to follow. And so because of that, they can just say, well, we think it's we think it's actually meaning, we think the law is actually meaning like this, and so we're gonna go after you because that's how we think it is. Whereas that's not the case. And again, hopefully some real rules and regulations would really actually truly help. We have global adoption coming, where if not, US is going to be the first strategic reserve type government, massive government, to really start getting something like this done. Other countries may end up trying to front run us or follow suit right after us, one or the other. That's coming from Europe and Asia. Nations are adopting cryptocurrency and crypto friendly policies as well. We've already seen this with, you know, like the United Arab Emirates and that kind of stuff as well. Good stuff is, you know, checking it all out. But yeah, we're absolutely going to see more approvals, more ETFs for definitely smaller altcoins. They're not just going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum. And again, as I stated at the beginning of the stream, when the ETF gets approved, that's, you basically say that it's a commodity is like as soon as the ETF's approved, which is incredible. It'd be like, okay, you can't go after this, can't go after this, can't go after this. And eventually just imagine with me, go into this deep imagination world with me, where we see a pulse chain ETF as well. How cool would that be? Anyways, I don't think it's going to happen in 2025, but imagine that day happens. And then of course we also have a market sentiment as well. Right, we have meme coins being pumped up like crazy. There was, dude, let me see if I can find something. There was something absolutely freaking mind-boggling, y'all, and that was the concept of how many tokens have just been launched. Like it's bad, y'all. It's bad. Token launches. I don't know if I can find it on here. Token launches ETF. Basically, the idea was that like in 2021 there was something like, I don't even know. Let me just see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find out some information on this. Give me 1 second. New tokens by EVM. Yeah, I think I just want to pull up this one here. Oh man, why can't I make this whole thing even bigger? If I click run, will it start? Oh no, it's gonna have me log in. I don't want to log in. Sure. Well, this one may end up showing the information that I'm looking for. Let me just see if I can save the image. Save screenshot. Oh, it has me log in as well. Well, give me 1 second. Let me sign in real fast to Dune. So give me 1 moment, y'all. Is that my login? We'll find out soon. Because I'm trying to basically, Hey, that's awesome, Punkmaster Hex. I was actually watching a little hockey a little bit earlier. I enjoy watching. So we go to, we have, you know, things like the ice bats and stuff like that here in Austin. But I was actually went to one of the games recently. It was fun. Just sitting back, having some fun, just watching some hockey. Definitely not something I've played before myself. I've been very athletic and I enjoy doing things like ice skating, but I grew up in Texas where we really don't get too much snow. So unless you're going to an actual rink, you don't really get too much practice on the ice or anything like that. But yeah, man, it was always fun. Yeah, dude, I feel you, man. So I hope you're enjoying the game, man. That's a beautiful sport as well. Okay, well, that wasn't my login. Wish it would have just said so earlier. Bro, what's my freaking login, guys? Sign in. Will it sign me in this way if I just do this? Of course not. Save. All right, cool. I'm in. So it's just that. Let me just log in again. Oh, I typed it wrong. Okay, cool. And all right, cool. Let me just relog that page one more time. Here we go. So Dune, token launches. Here we go. Dune analytics. Boom. By EVM. Boom. And will it let me save now as I'm logged in now? Yes, it will. Cool. And open it up right there. All right, cool. So this one doesn't quite do it all the justice in the world, but I think y'all are gonna get a pretty good idea as to what I'm referring to as well. So basically what this is showing right here is how many tokens were kind of launched during these time frames. So really all the way up until like October, April, 2022, things were really in this like 20, 30, 50K token launches each month type deal. It wasn't that many, you had some 5,000, 10,000 in the early stages, right? You start getting into the later stages. Cool. We started getting into like this 15, 20K in October, those kind of launches and that kind of stuff happening. Really October or July of 2022, you started seeing that number start ticking up like crazy. And then by this time in 2023, things started going absolutely freaking bonkers. You almost started getting 100,000 tokens launch every single month. Now, granted, this doesn't even include all of the chains. This is only for Optimism, Ethereum, Base, Blast, and Arbitrum. So this doesn't even give the whole concept as to how many tokens have actually been launched in all reality, right? Because now at this point in time, you're seeing these numbers where 2024, guys, there are some months where these suckers are hitting 400,000 token launches in a month, okay? That is stupid crazy. That is redonkulous. You know what I mean? Like, we are at the point to where back here you didn't have too many tokens. Yes, there were over 100,000 for the 2021 or something like that, but for the most part they were maybe low on the totem pole. Maybe you didn't even know about them. Now there's well over 2 to 3 to 4 million tokens. Half more, I was 95 if not 99% are trash, which is why I understand the way people feel whenever we say, dude, you should go talk about this new token that's out there. You should go check out this new token that's out there, right? Because these numbers kind of show you 400,000 tokens in a month, guys. That's absurd. This is, again, only for Optimism, Ethereum, Base, and Blast, and Arbitrum. This doesn't even include the actual tokens such as, right, we start getting into these tokens over here, such as, back in Solana, where you can see these are just like the Solana tokens that got launched as well. And there are a bunch, millions, daily tokens, millions over, like these are in the millions over here, right? This is a 2 million bar on the left. Right, this is a 2 million bar, meaning that by October 2021 there weren't 2 million tokens being launched, but daily tokens now at this point in time, we're seeing damn near 2 million, a million tokens launched every single freaking day on Solana. That's a stupid amount. Now again, you have to understand there's pump.fun, which is where most of the Solana tokens are coming from. You can see a lot of this stuff. You can't even see the actual, full-on pump.fun sites and all this good stuff, but these are just kind of showing that we're reaching a point in time where we're getting so many tokens launched every single month. Again, this is literally just on Solana for this particular chart that you can see on this one, but this is again showing massive number of tokens launched every single freaking day. So it makes it pretty damn difficult to say, like, guys, you should go check out this new token. If you see a new token launch, you're like, fuck, dude, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. Let's see how it performs. Like, hey, you may miss the bottom, and that is a-okay. You have to understand that as well, which is what so many people don't want to do. They literally have FOMO come in at this point in time saying, like, I don't want to miss out if this is the new peanut. I don't want to miss out if this is the new token that's going to go crazy. I don't want to miss out if it's the one that just goes to the moon. So I'm going to buy all of them. And hey, if that works for you, then more power to you. But oftentimes when you split the funds, especially when you start getting into the quantity of tokens, like having 40, 50, 60, 100 tokens in your portfolio, you're most likely going to lose this bull run. And that's just a fact, because even though in 1 or 2 or even 10 could absolutely outperform like crazy, if the others go down 90, 99, or even rugs are included in all of that as well, then half the time you end up underperforming on the overall portfolio. You could end up doing that and just narrow down your focus to be a lot more. Liquidity is our best friend. Quality over quantity. Facts, dude. Facts on facts, man. Always good to end up seeing that as well, When sudden wealth, my dog food is getting expensive, dude. I feel you, man. We own 5 dogs. and we foster 2 more, and we often have dogs come over for board and trains, and so there will be days or weeks in the house where I'm up to 10-15 dogs at the house, which is sounds like crazy, guys. It's one of those that's part of what my life has turned into at this point in time. And by the way, like, dogs are like a permanent 3-year-old, right? Like, you always got to feed them, you always got to take care of them, you always got to do everything for them, but like, it's like having a permanent 2 or 3-year-old, right? You got to let them out, you can have a doggy door and all that good stuff, but for the most part, you take them on walks and all that good stuff. But like, as your kids grow older, like my daughter is 13 now, you know what I mean? Like, she is self-sufficient when it comes to making stuff and doing stuff, right? Like, if she wants to go out with their friends or hang out over here or go play at the park, or at this point in time do any of these certain items, want to go get some food, want to do anything like that, she is very self-sufficient when it comes to that, whereas a dog is a permanent 2 or 3-year-old. So I feel you about the dog food getting expensive, man. I'm right there with you. I know very well how that is and how it works. And again, when you have as many dogs as we do and the amount of treats, man, I feel you on that one, dude. I want this moon to happen so everything just gets cheaper. And essentially, if you price your life not based in dollars but based in the actual token that you actually are purchasing, you could potentially see your life get less expensive just by the sheer fact of the tokens going up in value, right? And this is where we're going to start seeing things like Bitcoin reach 120, 130, 140,000 dollars. Ethereum start reaching $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. This is going to be where you start seeing the altcoins really start going and branching even further and getting even more adoption as well. And that's what I see happening whenever we actually end up getting roughly in this whole Trump pro crypto cabinet era, right? Y'all saw just earlier how many people are pro crypto in the Senate and the House of Representatives, or will be, should I say. It is very likely to end up getting them as well. But again, love them or hate them, like, meme coins have had the buzz in 2024. A lot of them have actually done pretty damn well. Granted, not all of them by any means. That's why I don't believe we're in a bull run just yet, right? Like, we're close. We're absolutely close. We're on the precipice of that bull. But 2025 is shaping up to be a massive FOMO bull run with all the good bullish news that we actually have coming as well. All right. And yeah, that's what we're going to start seeing. Analysts, you know, are throwing out numbers such as 150K Bitcoin, 200K Bitcoin, 500K Bitcoin, and even $1 million Bitcoin. We see Ethereum hitting 10K, 15K, and possibly even 20K Ethereum this cycle. We see Hex reaching $1, $2, and heck, maybe even one day $5, right? Like, these are all potential possible numbers when you start getting into what a bull run really looks like. Because guys, right now we're sitting on a total crypto market cap, granted somewhere in the ballpark of like 3.1 trillion. Let me just pull it up again just for S's and G's, just to kind of see what the total crypto market cap is showing me right now. And granted, I know this doesn't include all cryptos, but yeah, we're sitting at $3.26 trillion for this market cap. And I'm seeing this to be somewhat more toward a $10 trillion market cap in crypto, right? So we still got 4x, 3x in a market cap to kind of get going on this one, right? We're at 3.2. And I see this in this like 10.3, 10.4 trillion dollar market cap. And I've shown this on the chart as well, but I might as well just pull it up on screen once again, just so we're actually looking at it together. But this is kind of where I can see, you know, the overall crypto market cap going. Why? Because this is kind of what it's done in previous cycles, right? Like, it doesn't have to repeat, but it oftentimes will rhyme, right? And so, like, if I was to, I don't know if it's going to pull the fib from 14 down here, right? It just doesn't make too much sense over here. Yeah, because we're missing that whole like 13 pump over here for the overall crypto market cap. But anyways, when we start getting into the second halving, guess what? 17 months after, 18 months after, oftentimes it ends up being the top overall for the cycle. So we went from the top of the last cycle of 17 on to the low of 2018 bear market. And that kind of gives us a ballpark idea on this fib extension to say, where could we end up going? This puts us at this 4.236, which, by the way, granted, this sucker ended up reaching damn close to they actually end up getting 4.236. So all the way up here, bam, 4.236 was hit. So let's hit us in this $2.8 trillion market cap already. And by the way, we're sitting in once again, like I mentioned, at 3.26 right now. So we had this, you know, beautiful little cup and handle pattern start shaping out, right? You got this little cup right here, little handle over here, beautiful pattern start forming. And essentially when you start breaking out of the cup and handle pattern, well, this is kind of what I was saying. You just go from like this previous height where I didn't end up getting this top overall. Let me actually just set some stuff up real quick. And I'm just going to kind of pull that down to there and then copy this once again. So we're going to pull up two different metrics, right? So we get the cup and handle pattern, which by the way, when you start breaking out of a cup and handle, I'm just kind of going from the breakout period as well. It puts us pretty damn close to this 4.236 range ratio overall right now. Puts us somewhere in this ballpark of about $9.33 trillion market cap right here. And then whenever I end up, you know, kind of drawing this once again, whenever I end up, let me get rid of this one. Whenever I just pull the fib extension from that all-time high to the most recent local low back in 2022, that puts us in this 4.236 extension once again, which puts us all the way up to roughly about $10.3 trillion market cap overall. And granted, this doesn't include all cryptos, I understand, I'm right there with you, but this is where I could potentially end up seeing us somewhere up in this upper range if we get a massive bullish pro cabinet crypto with a lot of ETFs and things go even wilder than anticipated. Even a $25 trillion market cap could be potentially possible in sight. Not saying that's guaranteed to happen, but this is all going to end up shaping out roughly in this September-October timeframe, folks. So this is why I end up saying, like, we are primed. We are very primed right now to, yeah, dude, I know. We're very primed right now to end up getting this as well. Sailor's saying 13 million Bitcoin in 20 years. Well, if you actually look up the Bitcoin corridor, let me just see if I can pull it up. Corridor, power law corridor. I don't know why I don't have any of these saved. What? I have them all literally saved on my other computer, but not this one. Anyways, let me just pull that up as well, because, you know, this is kind of to academiciate point. Granted, this only goes out to like 2040, right? But y'all are kind of get an idea as to, you know, what this looks like as well, right? And so okay, 1 second, y'all, 1 second. Boom. Not even sure what this song is right now, but I enjoy it. All right, cool. So academiciated saying 13 million, holy shit, 13 billion. Can you freaking imagine a $13 million Bitcoin in 20 years? Okay, well, I can't quite see 20 years out, but we can get pretty darn close to 2040 to kind of get this idea. And if y'all are familiar with this as well, this is a Bitcoin long-term power law. Essentially, they did everything based on log on time frame, and they also did price on log as well. And then they set this up to see where the Bitcoin power law has basically shown this has been absolutely 100% true the entire time, right? So it hasn't really gotten too crazy. Yes, it got a little bit crazy over here in 2014, right? This little 2013, 2014 range, it broke a little bit outside the corridor power law right there. But outside of that, it hasn't really done anything too crazy. So let me hide the comment real fast so y'all can kind of end up seeing things. If we end up getting that bullish 2040 situation, this kind of shows that by the time we reach 2033, I believe, we start getting pretty much a median price of roughly about $1 million Bitcoin, right? This is that $1 million Bitcoin range right here. And again, I don't know if you can quite see the overall chart right here, you know, what I'm actually pointing at, where I'm actually at right now. But this is around the $1 million median price. And on the lowest side, they would basically say we are going to end up getting $1 million Bitcoin by 2037. This is the easiest way to look at it. This is, again, one of those ways to imagine it. Now, what's the earliest we can probably end up seeing $1 million Bitcoin? Basically by 2028, 2029. This is where the earliest that we end up looking to see $1 million Bitcoin. This is on the highest side over here on this chart up here, but it's again putting it around mid 2028 to even 2029. This is basically going to be where I believe Bitcoin reaches that $1 million mark. And again, if it doesn't reach it by there, then so be it. It reaches it by 2033. And if it doesn't reach it by there, then so be it. It reaches it by 2037. Long story short, Bitcoin's definitely going to end up getting that $1 million price one day. And if Bitcoin does end up reaching that $1 million price one day, and God forbid we end up keeping this ratio like we're currently seeing already right now, like let's just say the ETH BTC ratio remains at this 0.34 range. I'm not saying it has to 100%, but if it maintains this 0.034 range and it just maintains that at that point in time, well, what would that end up putting the price of Ethereum? Again, $1 million Bitcoin times 0.03491 would put Ethereum at $35,000 as well. That is freaking wild, y'all. I pulled this up to see again how Hex would end up doing against it. But last time I ended up doing this chart, it was Hex. Let me actually save this chart as well. Hex, Weth, and save this. Boom. I believe it was this chart. Let me just double check real quick. Nope. Must not have been that one. One moment. Uno momento. Well, let me just find the actual... Oh, because I was Mexi. Fucking Mexi. That's a whole different discussion on a whole different day is my guess on that one. Alright, cool. I'll just go with this. Does that sound accurate? 0.00. Yeah, close enough. How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 zeros. So, ETH hits $35,000. Hex times 0.1234567 7435. Nah, still be $2 Hex. Pretty damn bullish, y'all. Pretty damn bullish. And again, I think we end up getting a lot of these numbers a lot faster. Let me just see if I can find out which one that was. That's the actual Weth price right there. Hex, Weth. Yeah, that's the actual price. I'll end up finding that chart one day again and save it next time I end up finding it, just to keep it a little simple as well. But long story short behind it, you know, these numbers are just getting started. If you're actually looking long term, not just how can I get rich next month, but what can potentially happen in 2025. That's where the money is going to be made in crypto, y'all. That's where you're actually going to see the mad gain money to be made. So $13 million Bitcoin in 20 years, very possible, man. You know, I looked at it just from the standpoint of that 15-year chart moments ago, but I didn't even show you what the high was at that point in time. So the high on that chart in 2040 was actually going to be $10.5 million, $10.5 million for Bitcoin, right? So this is on the high side all the way over here, but it still puts Bitcoin in this $10.5 million Bitcoin by 2040, right? You start adding another 5 years on top of that as well. In 20 years, you could absolutely be potentially looking at a $13 million Bitcoin in 20 years. So these numbers are very possible, guys. Like, I mean, they sound absolutely absurdly stupid crazy, right? They just sound ridiculous. But these numbers have been proven to be the case time and time and time again, right? This power law corridor has not screwed up at all at this point in time. And yeah, we're staying in the parallel corridor right now. We're actually bouncing right near off this midline, which is going to be some resistance if you were to look at this from a TA perspective. But really, once we start getting past this $100,000 mark, well, I mean, the next level would probably be in the ballpark of like 200K, right? And so this is where you could potentially be seeing Bitcoin around this 200K, 250K, somewhere up here, up in this little range, somewhere by the time 2025, 2026 rolls around. Maybe we don't end up reaching the top, right? Like, I'm not saying that we actually have to go to the top. Like, granted, it did back in 2011 back here. It didn't do it in 2013, or I'm sorry, it did hit the top in 2013. It almost hit the top in 2017. It did not hit the top in 2021. So I'm anticipating that we're probably not going to hit the top in 2025. But if it decided to hit the top, this is where you start seeing numbers like $500,000 Bitcoin, by the way, right? So these are all very possible, guys. These are all very, very real possible numbers. Again, Bitcoin dominance is still going down at this point in time, so would love to see that just continue like it is right now. We actually had a kind of a green week right now at this point in time on the weekly chart looking at this. So once again, Bitcoin dominance, would love to start seeing this beautiful little trend right on back down. Definitely get back into this 55% range. We've already been met with resistance and support multiple times already at this price. So we're going to be met with some support or resistance around this range once again is my guess. But would love us to start trickling on back down. That's where you start seeing ETH really start shining, right? Like if you look back over here, early December right here when Bitcoin was already breaking down into this 55% range, and you pull up the ETH chart as well back in December of early December of 2024, early December of 2024. Yeah, I'm saying that correctly. I'm just making sure I'm saying it correctly. We got to see $4,100 ETH, right? And so if we start seeing these numbers once again come back into this 55% range Bitcoin dominance, well, it's potentially possible that we're going to be right back in this $4,100 ETH range once again. These are all very real, very, very possible numbers to be looking at whenever I'm actually comparing them together or against each other, right? And then God forbid it actually wants to drop on down below and get into this 50% range for Bitcoin dominance. Well, that's alt season right there, right? If we start seeing Bitcoin dominance all here, granted alts will be going some rally during this time because ETH will be pumping. This is like alt right here. This is when alts really start going crazy. And by the time we start breaking below 45%, we're getting pretty darn close to the top. Again, I think the top ends up being around this 40% Bitcoin dominance price. Yes, it could break down a little bit below it, just like it's done in the past. But we tend to kind of end up being damn near the top when these numbers are actually hitting around 40% Bitcoin dominance. So pay attention to how Bitcoin dominance is playing out. Pay attention to where it's at. If we start breaking below 55, I can see ETH being back in that 4K range once again. 50%, you know, we haven't even quite seen how crazy it can end up getting during that time, right? Because this is kind of what ended up happening in 2021, where the numbers start breaking down below 50%, and we already saw, you know, basically ETH go pretty darn crazy for that price in April of 2021, right? That was pretty darn close to that top type signal around that time, right? You saw ETH start going crazy, and it was already going crazy, great. You know, granted, this is 2021. It was a pretty wild run, but it started off slow, y'all. I know several people forget these things, right? Several people forget all of this as well. But ETH started off pretty darn slow. It had a pretty good month in January, nothing too crazy. Again, if I was to actually chart this out overall from December on up to the really end or middle of February, basically did a 2x, nothing too crazy, but then I actually saw a 70% dip. Get ready for the potential dip, y'all. Get ready for a very potential dip, right? This is just one of those very strong possible things that can happen. And then things started rallying up like crazy all the way up until really the April timeframe, where it started breaking into that below 50%. We're getting damn near top, and then it ended up being a top, right? That was kind of how this Bitcoin dominance chart exactly played out as well. So make sure that y'all are keeping an eye on that. I'll be sharing this chart with everyone as well. That way y'all can see how this all ends up playing out, because during this time when it was going pretty crazy at this point, yeah, dude, people were starting to get pretty damn excited. And then guess what? 40% came, and guess where it happened? Right in May, right? And so like these are numbers to be paying attention to. Also in September is also happening, so it's kind of showing that, you know, the top was basically in. It was going to do another rally, which we actually ended up getting toward the end of the year, right? Y'all remember it was pretty slow from May all the way up until really about, you know, the August September timeframe. Things started rallying up again up until really about October November timeframe, and then that was basically that double top scenario. So when I'm looking at the charts, guys, these are what I'm paying attention to. The Bitcoin dominance doing its thing, the overall market continuing to not shock me, not surprise me, and you know, just keeping it real with everyone as well. That way everyone has an idea as to, you don't have to be a rocket science when to exit, but you better be ready to exit and take profits. That's all I'll say at that point. All right, let's read some last minute chats. Wrap this up here. What are some regulations you'd like to see when Trump gets into office? Man, I don't know enough about regulations at that point to be able to come up with anything for me in particular, but basically a new Howey test as to pertaining to cryptocurrency. Like, it doesn't have to be a Howey test in the exact definition of what Howey test is, but right, the four legs of the Howey test have been fucking outdated and we're way beyond passing what a thing considers as a security nowadays. And that's what I was talking about with that whole Chevron deference case with the Supreme Court. It was that same kind of mindset that the government just could take whatever they wanted to as a Howey test and kind of twist it in pervasive ways to make it fit their prerogative, and that was to take down the crypto entity or whatever it was. However, it didn't actually fall under any of the Howey tests, but they twisted it in such a way because there was no clear and concise rules and regulations about that. So maybe something like that, a new standard of what a security is or isn't, so that way they can just stop fucking putting Wells notice on security or on crypto. That would be one thing. Yeah, the economy looks wrecked, but the numbers just recently look great. So curious to see how that all plays out. Hey friends, and well done for still being here. We are future winners. 100% of my bank account might be a zero, but my future is filled with multiple zeros on the left of the decimal. Facts on facts, Alan Fizme. That's just one of those. There was a Instagram video, and it was the whole Breaking Bad guy, and he was sitting there talking to the lawyer, and he's like, my family thinks I'm going bankrupt. They fucking think I'm going bankrupt, but I got so much fucking money and they don't even know, right? It's like, that shit had me laughing because that's a lot of people are about to be experiencing very similar situations. I always advise or suggest don't share that information with family. If you want to share it with significant others, whatever you want to do is your own death at that point in time. But I personally always say wait until the money is actually in the account, right? And so if your portfolio is looking pretty, whether it be 6 figures, 7 figures, or beyond, you want to show it to everyone because you've been waiting for this for obviously years probably at this point, right? And so you want to just be like, fucking look, we fucking did it, right? And then the prices dump another 70, 80%. And it's like, I didn't take profit. What was I doing? And then you go through all the stages of grief. Long story short, wait until you actually take profit. Wait until that money is in the bank. And then you can say, look, I put XYZ amount of money in the bank. Aren't you happy? Aren't you proud? Whether that's all the money in crypto and you sold it all and you got it all into fiat, or whether that's a small portion of your portfolio, knowing that you're still a fucking god maybe inside your head, but you've put some money in the bank at this point in time, you start allowing others to also then believe in the crypto world as well. Otherwise, it's all fake imaginary internet money and it's all kind of BS. Bitcoin doesn't top out in 2025? Interesting. Maybe not. Maybe it hits 2026. Like, I think personally, we've every cycle that's happened so far, by the way, and this is just my speculation, this is my 2 cents, we've extended by roughly about an extra 13% on average for how long it's taken to get to the top. And so basically that would put us in February of 2026 to start being around the top, by the way, for what it's worth. Who knows how it all ends up working out. What up, you never walk alone? Oh man, oh man. I didn't look at any of the pulse chain prices today. Should I do that real quick? Probably should just check out some quick prices with y'all. Why not, right? We saw the recent little pump happening in the ecosystem. That made me a little happy, but once again, I've said this already, I'm not getting bullish until we start breaking higher highs, right? Till we start making prettier looking fucking charts than what we're doing right now, type deal. So gopulse.com, let's just start there, and then we'll actually look at the charts as well, and have some fun as well to kind of see how this all pans out at the end. Cool. In the last 24 hours, we are up 2%, 2.5% on Pulse. We are up 3.77% on Pulse X. We are up roughly around 2.14% on Inc. and roughly about 3% on Hex. Sitting at 40472 for Pulse, 40299 for Pulse X, $1.70 for Inc. and 1.2 cents for Hex, with the ratio of roughly around 1 to 5.16 right now for Hex on Ethereum versus Hex on Pulse Chain. Okay, which is putting the price around 2025. So I've already said this in the past, but guys, if Hex reaches $1 on Pulse Chain and it maintains this 1-to-5 ratio, that's still 20 cents over there. If you had 1,000,000 Hex on both of them and you didn't do anything to buy anything, but you had 1,000,000 Hex, Pulse Chain was forked, you got a copy of those tokens on Pulse Chain, you now have 1,000,000 Pulse Chain Hex, you now have 1,000,000 Hex on Ethereum, you haven't done anything with your bag since. It reaches $1 Hex on Pulse Chain, it reaches 20 cents on Ethereum. That's $1.2 million. Congratulations. You know what I mean? Like, that's killing it in my opinion. That's still better than even just holding on to that 1,000,000 Hex, even back in the day when it reached the all-time high of 56 cents. And this is where so many people are going to be like, oh man, I wish I would have just gone all in on that one token that performed well. You don't know which token's going to perform well. That's why you diversify into maybe all the core tokens of the RH ecosystem, because maybe one of them could absolutely smack you in the face. Me personally, I think eHex is about to smack everybody in the face, but it's clear as day. Richard Hart has said everyone has chosen Pulse Hex or Hex on Pulse Chain so many times, but like if you look on all the charts, everything says Hex on Ethereum. Everything is Hex on Ethereum. It has the lowest liquidity. When you stake Hex on Ethereum, you get 4 times, 5 times the amount of Hex that you earn. You get 5 times the amount of T shares that you get. So yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on that one, right? Yes, there are going to be some ETH fees. I get it. I understand. I'm right there with you. Hopefully you make some mad money on all of the other tokens as well, so you can cover any of the gas fees that could end up occurring. Yeah, they can get stupid high sometimes. But again, like even right now today, what is the ETH gas fee real fast? Let's just pull this up. 3.2, like that's cheap. That's cheap as heck, dude. If you want to end a stake, start a stake, wait until the fucking GUI is low. There's no need for you to end a stake or start a stake whenever it's at 10, 20, 30, 50, 70 GUI. That's just dumb on your part. Understand that. You can be patient. Yes, I understand you want to stake early right now so you can start earning some Hex right now today. But if it's gonna end up costing you $200 to start a stake, that seems pretty fucking dumb. If it costs you $200 to end a stake and it's only $50 value to end the stake, that's pretty silly. Don't end the stake. You know what I mean? But if it goes down to 3 GUI and it costs you $10 to end the stake and it's $50 to end up doing it for the actual value, then fucking end it. You know what I mean? And if you want to restake it or sell it or swap it or do whatever at that point in time, do it at that point in time. If you want to bridge stuff over into the Pulse Chain ecosystem, when GUI is 3, that is a great time to be moving things into the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Great time to be bridging. Great time to be swapping. Great time to be doing any of this good stuff. Whether it be moving from Coinbase to Ethereum to Pulse Chain, however you want to do it, from Pulse Chain to Ethereum to Coinbase, I don't care what you end up doing. Wait until the GUI is low. Like there shouldn't ever be like such urgency that you have to do it now, right? Like everyone, I gotta get rich now. Like get that mindset out your mindset, which is what allows me the ability to think long term and be okay with delaying shit, even if it takes a couple extra weeks, right? Like if GUI was at, which recently it was up 31, right? And this is just this week. It was at 31 GUI on January 6th, right? Like I don't want to transact at that time. Cool, what if I had a stake in? This is at 34 GUI right here. This is at 32 GUI. What if I had a stake in at this point in time? I'll fucking wait. I will wait. And then I'll wait until the fees are down. And when they're at 2.9 GUI, cool, transact. You know what I mean? I want everyone to like think for 2 seconds. But anyways, I digress. I may have gotten a little bit worked up on that one. I admit. So let's just look at some charts real fast and wrap this up real quick. What's good, Mo digging it? I got a little heated right there. Had some fun. Let's just say it is what it is on that one. Oh man, but you know, looking at the weekly again, still a little bit of a red week. Got some work to end up doing right now, y'all. You know what I mean? This is what I say. I really want to start getting bullish. I really do. I would love to see us kind of go down and start recovering, and this be the bottom to where we can start, you know, recovering and start making some higher highs, higher lows. But until I start seeing that higher high, higher low situation, something like this play out, again, I'm not saying I'm bearish, but I think we're just in this consolidation period where we play here around these prices until things start really doing one thing or another. We've already seen this happen time and time again, right? When we played in here, we finally went bullish. Cool. We played in here, we finally went bullish, right? And then we went all the way down here. That was a crazy time. We went a little bit low. Cool. We ended up playing here. We got pretty darn bullish, in my opinion, September and even October and November, right? And so like we start getting bullish, that's when I really want to start being bullish myself, to really start seeing how it's all going to end up getting it as well, right? Tam says, what's up, boss? What's up, fam? But yeah, guys, this is where I'm seeing things happening right now. So Pulse Chain currently sitting at 404716. I've already drawn out my prices as to where, you know, things are going. We basically hit all 3 targets on that one as well. So if you got yourself the ability to scoop up some more Pulse Chain at these prices, congratulations, right? Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the lowest that it can ever go. It, in fact, may end up going here, but you took a step, right? You got your foot wet, you got into the water. You don't just wait and wait and wait and wait. So often do people end up being paralyzed by analyzing the charts too much. And well, I don't want to get in right now in case it ends up dipping. I get it, dude. I'm right there with you. Like, I don't want it to dip either. But typically whenever you start buying on red days, especially on these type patterns where almost like a falling knife type pattern, you don't know how low it can possibly end up going. We saw this with Hex. We've seen it with Pulse Chain. We've seen it with all these tokens already before. So it's just a matter of, I got in, I'm happy with it, and if prices even just go back up to SAC, for example, you've already doubled your money, right? So even just getting in over here, boom, you've already got a 2x, 3x right there. Even, you know, boom, SAC is right here. You got a 2x your money. Beautiful. We get back up to these prices in March, right? You're looking at 3-4x your money. And this is absolutely how fast something like this can happen, y'all. It can play out just like this as well. This is a January candle, by the way. This is a 1 week candle. This move was a 2x move in 1 week, followed by essentially several more pumps that happened soon after. That was a 3x in 7 days. It's very possible to see something like this end up happening. This is a 4x in 50 days. It is absolutely possible to see us do something very similar. So just for S's and G's, let's just say, for example, you ended up kind of doing some fun, and we had it from this chart all the way up to, you know, this chart right here. And again, I'm just kind of drawing this out to say, cool, what if it ended up dipping on back down, for example, and it got down below our support, but then it started to bounce back and recover? This is where I would start being bullish. So I'm saying, hey, that's a low right here. That's a lower high, or a higher low, should I say. A higher low is formed again. A higher low is formed again. Very bullish direction right there in that regard, right? And this is absolutely a possibility to see the chart do something like this, and it would put us in this April timeframe above SAC. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to take that long. It could be faster, it could be slower. I don't freaking know. I don't know the exact time frame. It's very clear that a lot of people are very emotional right now with prices. So whenever it comes to this, if we get some bad news of the SEC not dismissing the case, I could see a sell-off situation happening. So prices are probably going to go lower. Now, am I going to be trading that? Absolutely not, right? Because it could either be bought back up so quickly that you end up not getting your position, you sell your position thinking it's going to go lower, and then it ends up not dipping any lower, and then you miss the pump and you rally and you're buying back in at higher prices with a third of the size of the bag that you once had. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. But if you got some fresh capital sitting on the side and you want to be deploying some, well, these are some prices to be looking at deploying some, okay? If it decides to go lower, so be it, cool. But we're already at the first level of prices right now. Could go down to the second level of prices, could even go down to the third level of prices, all very possible. By the way, 4026 is kind of where that price would end up being. If we decide to fill in the wick, 4023, somewhere in that ballpark would be the prices I would say could be local lows. Not saying that's absolutely going to be a possibility, but just FYI. Same thing happening over here. If we decide to fill in the wick, right below a penny would be pretty darn crazy in my opinion. But again, I've said this in the past. I don't know why I say it's crazy. We've already done things crazier that, you know, I didn't think the community would do before multiple times. And so I wouldn't be too shocked if it does end up happening again, but it would put us in this penny ballpark over here, which we seem to be holding a pretty good support around the penny price over here at Hex on Pulse Chain. And yeah, these are the levels of prices I would be looking at capitalizing some capital into, right? If you had some capital sitting on the side and you want to be buying, then cool. This is that first level already hit. You've already kind of gotten close to the second level. Didn't quite end up getting hit, but maybe this could be the level you could get some at right here, which, by the way, this is $1,100 to get you 1,000,000 hex over here. That kind of, whoops, well, incorrect. That would be $10,000. That's $11,000 over here. We get 1,000,000 hex. I was thinking of Hex on Pulse Chain, or Hex on Ethereum. I was thinking of this chart right here. This is $1,600 down here. $1,600 right here would end up netting you 1,000,000 hex over there. So these are the prices that I'm overall. The ink token looking pretty darn good. We've already ended up getting all the wicks down at this point in time, basically, in my opinion. So we're almost entering the whole start taking profit zone all the way up to the end taking profit zone, basically by October 2025. If these are profit numbers for you, then so be it. If you're waiting until numbers are all the way up here again, then so be it. But I think you should be beginning to start thinking about profit taking, coming up with the plan, setting up some sort of strategy. We just discussed this as well 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago with the 5P community, with the Patreon as well, with the proper preparation preventing poor performance group. This group, we just went through multiple different ideas and strategies as to how you're best going to end up taking profit this bull run so you don't end up round tripping the bag. I still consider the RH ecosystem as 5 core coins. Yeah, me too. Facts. Facts on facts on facts. So hope that gave everyone some ideas, some good news. Let everyone know that we got some bullish stuff happening overall. There's absolutely some good things coming in 2025, whether it be a massive crypto pump, whether it be institutional adoption, whether it be economic conditions getting easier and more lax, technological advances with AI, or even just regulatory clarity as to what's potentially possible and leading us toward a bullish horizon is all sitting here. This is definitely the moment to prepare. No longer sitting just on the sidelines, waiting, looking, eating your popcorn. Now is the time to start at least at the ballpark, dipping the toes in the water if you haven't already, educating yourself onto how to better plan a profit-taking strategy, building that portfolio strategically to make sure that you actually understand when you're going to start taking profits, if tokens do certain things or if portfolios do certain things. And of course, remember the golden rule: never invest more than you're willing to lose. Because in the next videos, guys, we're going to be diving some more into all of these fun topics to check everything out. And just remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I will catch all of y'all in the next one. Peace out and have a great weekend, y'all.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities